It's Saturday, September 16, 2023. Absolutely stunning day here today in Palm Desert, California. Please make sure to like this video, share this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for all the support. This is not possible without you. This morning, I jotted down a few notes, printed out a couple articles that I wanted to share with all of you. Somebody commented last night and they said everything's great. They said that I've been just talking for 4 years how bad things are, that actually things are really, really good. Do you agree with that? I want to put that to you. Do you agree that over the last 4 years, things are getting better, that things haven't been decreasing, but they've actually been increasing, that the economy's getting better, that the economy's booming, that people are more happy now and more financially secure now than they have been ever before? Is this true? I don't think so. And this morning, I just went online and I just did a little homework. I took, 10, 15 minutes this morning and just jotted down these notes and just looked up some of this data. But wages, this individual that told me that the economy is actually doing quite well and that over the last 4 years, I've just been saying the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you live in the same world I live in, if you live right here in the US, things were definitely better 4 years ago than they are now. You paid less for gas, you paid less for food, you had a higher savings rate. Things were better. Not saying they were perfect. We were already witnessing things collapsing many, many years ago. But there is no argument. Things were much better 4 years ago than they are today. This individual says, well, wages are going up. No, real wages are going down. Real wages are getting crushed by real inflation. They said unemployment is down. If you believe unemployment is down, if you really believe that the unemployment number is, where are we at today? 3.8%. I think that's the official number. If you think that number is real, you believe in the tooth fairy. I went to ShadowStats today, shadowstats.com, John Williams' site. He has U6 unemployment, which is the broadest unemployment. He has it measured at 6.7%. 6.7%. And he argues that the real unemployment number is over 24%. Now, I looked at some data today. I just went online, Googled this. Anybody can do this. National debt today, $32.9 trillion. Unfunded liabilities, $190 trillion. 63% of this country is living paycheck to paycheck. Oil today is $91.20 a barrel. 40% of this country cannot cover a $400 emergency. Now, what I thought was interesting is I said, well, what's going on with payday lenders, payday loans? Well, this should be a pretty good barometer, a good indicator of what's happening to the economy. You can hear the bugs just buzzing out here today. They're loud. In 1996, we had 2,000 payday lenders in the U.S. Today, we have 23,000 payday lenders ready to rip you off. These are modern day loan sharks. Modern day loan sharks. Now there are 23,000 of them. Now, in a booming economy, you wouldn't expect to see 30,000 auto repos a day, would you? Well, that's what's happening right now. Household debt at a record high. U.S. savings rate. This is interesting. 3.5%. So think about that. Every $100 you make, you're able to save $3.50 of it. How in the world is the average person or average household going to prepare for the bad times? How are they going to insulate themselves from this economic crisis that has begun? It's not going to happen. It's happening right now. Student loan debt, $1.77 trillion. We're almost at $1.8 trillion of student loan debt. And I believe it's October. The repayment starts, and on average, those borrowers on average are going to be paying back $500 per month. That's $500. That's not going to be going back into the economy. That's $15.8 billion. That's not going to be going back into the economy. You know, going to the bars, going to Vegas, going to Nordstrom's, going to Marshall's, going to Kohl's, going to Walmart. That's $500 now being sucked out of the economy And going back to repayment, $15.8 billion per month now going to be vacuumed out of the economy. That's going to be a major, major headwind for the U.S. economy, and it's going to be interesting to see how that transpires. 8 million Americans are working 2 or more jobs. I wonder why that is. If things were so good, how come so many people have to work 2 and 3 jobs? It says here the real number is 16 million. That's 10% of the labor force. So the government number is 8 million, but other economists argue that the real number is 16. 10% of the labor force is working 2 or 3 jobs. 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved up. Now, this is what really concerns me. As you know, we're in very, very rough times right now. We are witnessing the collapse of the U.S. economy right now. It's going to get worse. And when you have 50% of Americans having less than $1,000 saved up, how in the world, somebody please write in, comment down below, how in the world do you survive the upcoming crisis when you have less than $1,000 saved up? I don't understand. I cannot believe how unprepared the average household, the average person is in this country. Now I'm not blaming anybody, because they have absolutely gotten people to take the bait, to take the FOMO, and they're pulling the rug out right now, and they got people into debt. And now they have millions of debt slaves, and they can control debt slaves. People now are more reliant on the system than ever before. And this is what I think they really wanted, because they can control people when they're debt slaves, when they have massive amounts of debt. Now, when you don't have debt, when you have very little debt or no debt at all, when you have money, you have more freedom, don't you? You don't have to rely on the system. You fall down and you need 20 stitches at urgent care, you drive over there, you get them, and here's $1,000. Your kid falls down, needs stitches, here's $1,000. You don't want to ride the subway, you want to drive your own car or be driven, you have the money to do it. You think about the people who have money that can fly private. They don't have to deal with the crazies. We just flew to Texas, and the planes were so packed. You were like a sardine. And there were no issues, no problems. For the most part, people were very, very civil. But we've seen time and time again these outrageous outbursts on these planes where people are trying to open doors, where they're trying to assault an airline stewardess. They're just doing crazy things. And if you have a lot of money, you can ride on a private jet and avoid that. So, there is a positive, definitely, to being financially secure, to having money. You can avoid the subways, you can avoid public transportation, you can avoid a lot of the danger out there because you have money. And let me not confuse anybody. Do not make money your God. I don't worship money. I'm glad that I have some money. I'm not riding around in private jets, but I understand why some people do. They can avoid the chaos. So money's a good thing because it does allow you more freedom. When you have less money, you have less freedom. And then think about the stress that people are having right now too, making the mortgage or the rent, the car payment, the credit card payments, feeding the kids, childcare. 20% of people's income on average now is childcare. So people really put themselves under a lot of stress, takes a toll on their physical well-being, and it's money that does that. So, if you have the means to make some money and put some capital away, this is the time to be doing it, ladies and gentlemen, because you're going to be able to take advantage of some opportunities, the sales that are coming. You're going to be able to insulate yourself from a lot of things that are happening socially because you have money. Maybe you live in a nicer, safer area. Maybe you can hire private security. Again, you don't have to ride on public transportation, avoid that mess. And you can just put yourself in a more insulated, protected area when you have money. If you don't have money, then the odds are you're going to have to deal with more of this social breakdown that's taking place. And look, nobody's 100% immune from it, without a doubt. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You're not 100% immune, but you can insulate yourself more when you have some money. But if you don't have some money, then you really, really have to make sure that where you're spending the money that you do have, that you're spending it correctly, you're not wasting it. that you're using it for the right purpose, and that you're protecting yourself the best that you can with the money that you have. Not everybody makes $1 million a year. Not everybody makes $100,000 a year. So do the right thing. Be smart with it. Make sure that if you can't hire security, that you are your security, that you are your own central bank, that you have assets that you can get to, that you're getting out of the system the most that you possibly can. Detach from the system, ladies and gentlemen. The more attached you are to the system, the more enslaved you are to the system. 36% of this country has absolutely no savings whatsoever. They have zero money. The paycheck comes in, it's spent 2 days before they even get paid. People are in the red. 36% of this nation has no savings. This scares me. Again, when you don't have $1,000, let alone you have zero money saved up, how in the world are you going to function during this crisis that has begun? 35% reported that they have more debt now than they ever have in their life. Not a good sign for the economy. So the people out there that think things are really, really good. Again, I wrote yesterday, please give me the list. Give me a list of all the good things happening in this economy. I did not receive a list. All I got were wages are up, which real wages are not up, they're down, and that unemployment is down. If you believe in the unemployment numbers, again, you believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. Also, my argument would be to this individual or to anybody that thinks the economy is doing well, compare the health of the average person in America right now. Take a look around. You know, when I was a kid, people were in phenomenal condition, phenomenal health. People could actually do, 10 pull-ups or 10 push-ups. Most kids in my gym class could do that without even blinking an eye. Today, I bet most kids could not do 1 or 2 pull-ups, let alone push-ups. And that's really, really embarrassing. We have gotten very weak mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. But look at people 10 or 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, compared to people today. And this is not to judge people or to be judgmental. This is just a honest observation of society, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in a society that is physically decaying, a society that is physically very unhealthy right now. And I think a lot of that is connected to the economy, because when people don't make a lot of money, they're going to buy the cheapest food possible, the food that is filled with fillers, chemicals, and God knows what. And this is just going to cut their lifespans. This is going to put them at a higher rate of obesity, a higher rate of heart condition, a higher rate of cancers. So, one good place to invest money is better quality food. Feed yourself good food. Cut as much junk out as possible. We're all guilty. I love some fast food. I eat some junk food. I'm guilty. But I have made an effort to eat better food. I try to buy the best meat possible. I'll eat a smaller steak. I'll eat less meat, but I'll eat a higher quality meat. I'm making sure I get my vegetables in. I'm just making sure that I'm just doing whatever I can to cut some of the bad stuff out and replace it with some of the better foods. And so maybe you eat a little bit less, but you're eating higher quality. And I think that's extremely important. But there is a huge difference in the appearance of the average person today in America than the appearance of the average person 20, 30, 40 years ago, without a doubt. You can compare society today, 10 or 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, to society today. People today act like animals. They are vicious, violent, lawless, and godless. And we didn't see this type of society when I was growing up. Certainly not in the 80s and 90s like we're seeing now in the last couple years. And so does that have a connection to the economy? Probably to a degree. But I think more so people have just become more disconnected from God. Families are broken. And so I think that also the influence of Hollywood, video games and all of that have definitely taken a toll on society today. So it all plays a role. The immorality, the detachment from God, the Hollywood, the economy, it's all playing a role. If you do not have a solid foundation heading into this crisis, you're going to be in big trouble. And you better watch out for people who do not have a solid foundation. These people, you better be very, very careful of. A couple articles today. Federal Reserve losing $758 million per day, now in the hole for $100 billion. The Fed is losing this because they are paying, according to this article, they're paying interest to commercial banks on reverse repos and interest on reserves. Now, countries across the globe are watching this, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we now have the BRICS, the BRICS 11, which will be the BRICS 20, the BRICS 30, the BRICS 50, the BRICS 70. Everything is going to go towards the BRICS. And this is why, because countries are watching what is happening to our central bank, the Federal Reserve, right here, bleeding money. So how long do you think countries are going to continue accepting these Federal Reserve notes when they're watching the Federal Reserve losing $758 billion per day, now in the hole for $100 billion, as they are paying interest on these commercial banks and money on these reverse repos? How long before the rest of the world detaches from America, the US dollar, the US banking system, and goes to the BRICS? Now, I don't think it's going to happen in the next month or 6 months or year, but the wheels are turning. The motion has begun, and I think the world in 5 years is going to look a whole lot different than it does now. And look, not to say it can't happen sooner. It could happen much sooner. The 1% at the very top have wrecked your country financially. And you know, people will look at the top 1%, these multi-billionaires, and they will admire and worship the wealth that these people have. But remember, these parasites looted your country. They looted and stole your wealth, your money. And yet people are so zombified, so dumbed down, so brainwashed, they'll look at these people and admire them. Yet these people, these parasites, robbed you, and you don't even know it. And while these people, these parasites, are on their way out the door, you're going to be sitting here in the sinking ship, believing everything is going to be okay, while the ship, while this Titanic sinks to the bottom of the ocean floor. Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Please wake up. TheEconomicCollapse.com, the child poverty rate in the United States has more than doubled. Last year, the child poverty rate in the U.S. was 5.2%. Today, right here in the U.S., it's 12.4%. That is a record increase. That is a doubling of child poverty in the so-called greatest, most wealthiest nation on planet Earth, even though I understand we are the biggest debtor nation, but we love to brag how much money we have, yet we are seeing poverty, not just child poverty, but poverty across the board explode in this nation. People are food insecure. More people every day are living on the streets of America. Vets, good people, people who have mental disorders who should not be on the streets. But hey, let's keep sending billions of dollars to other countries. Households at this point are being pushed to their economic breaking points. How many credit cards can you use before you no longer can use those credit cards because they're maxed out? Auto delinquencies at 7.3%. Credit card delinquencies exploding. Anybody who writes me in the comments down below and tells me that the consumer is strong, I pray to God you get counseling. I hope you get therapy. You're going to need it. You really, you need it. You need it. Gasoline prices soar to U.S. seasonal record. This on Yahoo Finance. The average price for a gallon of gas now in America, $3.86. Prices have risen 7.8% in the last 8 weeks. Gas out here, you're probably not going to find regular gasoline under $5. Most places it's about $5.19 now. Super unleaded at Chevron, $6.09 to $6.29. Gas is exploding. Again, barrel of oil over $91 a barrel. Now, I want to shift gears here with these last two articles. One of these coming from The Hedge. Murdered that man for laughs. Shocking video of out-of-control teens. This happened in Las Vegas last month. Very, very disturbing. There's videos circulating all over the internet. You can go to The Hedge here, check it out, or you can just Google it. It's all over the internet. But we talk about this breakdown in society. People have become so desensitized, and this is very disturbing as we get deeper into this economic crisis, because we're going to see a very, very severe societal crisis take place, and people are so desensitized right now. You could say it's because of video games, it's Hollywood, it's the television. But there were a couple teens riding around in a stolen Hyundai last month, and they literally reenacted a scene from Grand Theft Auto. They were bumping into cars and then just driving off. And what was very, very disturbing here is this 17-year-old who had stole the car thought it would be funny to run over a bicyclist, and they filmed it. And so they run over this gentleman riding a mountain bike. He hits the windshield, breaks the windshield, flies over the car, hits the curb along the roadside, and he has lost his life. And they're laughing, and they filmed it, and they thought it was funny. They arrested the 17-year-old driver over running over and the death of Andreas Props. I believe that's his name, Props, a retired California police chief. So hitting cars for fun and entertainment and laughs, and then running over people on bicycles and killing them, that's all for fun and laughs and entertainment. That's what's happening today. Please be aware of your environment. Use situational awareness. Be alert, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be walking around staring at your phone like a zombie. You know, I think it's unhealthy to even be sitting at your house all day, you know, reading the news all day, being on TikTok videos, playing video games, and whatever people are doing on their phones. You know, look, I'm not saying don't do any of that, but you know, people do this for hours and hours a day, and there's zombies in their house, and then they go outside of their house and there's zombies. Not to say that this gentleman was a zombie. He was just riding his bicycle, just having a nice bicycle ride. He didn't deserve this. He wasn't on his phone. He was just riding his bicycle. Never thought that some lowlifes, some pieces of garbage, would think it would be funny to just run him over and film it and think it was just pure entertainment and laughs. That gentleman, I'm sure, had kids, a wife, parents, friends, and he's gone now. Rest in peace. What a sad, sad tragedy. And I hope that this individual that did this, they should give him the electric chair. Hollywood is dead, and no one cares. Last article today on The Hedge, and I want to share this with you. It's starting to heat up. I got to get inside. Goodbye, Hollywood. Again, this is one of the most unhealthy things you could be absorbing in your life is Hollywood and these movies and Hollywood entertainment. It's terrible for your soul. It's terrible for your brain. It's just terrible for you physically. Just detach from it. The past 4 years alone, movie theaters in this country have seen a 50% plunge in box office attendance. God bless America. Maybe people are beginning to wake up. No one cares about the writers, no one cares about the actors, and no one cares about the studios. The industry is a dying institution. You want to know why? Because they got political. They got political. People don't want to deal with politics. They want to take a break. They want to deal with politics with sports, which now is political. They didn't want to deal with politics in movies. Now it's political. And you know what? Now they're detaching from all of it. So again, nobody cares about the actors. Nobody cares about the writers, and nobody cares about the studios. Most of them are all sellouts. Hollywood, a major sellout. And to me, it's the devil's playground. We know the activities that go on in Hollywood. We know what Hollywood promotes. So I'm glad that people are waking up. People have had enough with the Hollywood agenda. People have had enough with the Hollywood immorality. They love to make fun of us for believing in God, for exercising our rights. And now I have no remorse. I have no pity for the people who are part of the Hollywood hell and the influence that they had and what they did with that influence. People are sick of it. People are sick of what they're promoting. You can do whatever you want. You're an adult. But you know, they like to promote it to kids. They promote it to weak-minded people. And it's just a disease. It's like leprosy. Detach from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to see the 50% plunge. I hope Hollywood just completely crumbles into rubble. They asked for it. They got it. I pray to God that America keeps their foot on the pedal and continues to crumble Hollywood. And they need to crumble all these sports organizations too for everything they endorse. And they love to endorse that you don't have rights. They love to endorse that your God is just a joke and that you're just a dumbed down, foolish American. And yet they pay people, the athletes and the actors make tens of millions of dollars a year. I hope it all crumbles. They get what they deserve, ladies and gentlemen. We need to start voting with our wallets. We need to start standing up with our wallets. We need to endorse people and organizations and companies with our wallets. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless all of you. It is really getting warm out. So have a great day. Be safe out there. God bless America. Pray for this country. And as always, I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you. Stay strong. Stay safe. And thank God tonight for everything you have. Have a good day.